All right. Good evening, Toastmasters. Tonight, I'm here to talk to you about something you might have never thought about before. In fact, I'd be shocked if you had. Quantum mechanics and the duality of Matzah. Quantum mechanics is a really, really strange part of physics. It's the really strange part of physics. It has things like entanglement, what Albert Einstein called spooky action at a distance. It has Heisenberg uncertainty principle, which tells you that you cannot get the position and the momentum of anything at the same time with absolute accuracy. It has the wave function collapse, which leads to the thought experiment of Schrodinger's cat, about how a cat could be dead and alive at the same time. It leads to the many worlds interpretation of what we call the multiverse, which is in many different science fiction stories, about how every tiny split of a second that we have a whole new universe created. Or the Copenhagen interpretation, which is totally different. EPR paradox, too many things. Each of these things could itself be a 5 to 7 minute speech or much longer. So what is the key to quantum mechanics? One of the keys is whether an item is a wave or a particle. And this is applied to energy, such as light. It can actually apply to matter as well, like electrons or sometimes even larger particles, even entire atoms. But let's talk about with light. Light is a wave because waves reflect and waves can refract, like when you see a light go into water and it turns. Light or waves in general, including light, can interfere with each other. Like if you throw two stones into water and each one makes a wave and then the waves interact. But light is a particle. And this is shown by the photoelectric effect and spectral lines and other things, which again, a bit much to explain right now, but different things that show that light is a stream of particles called photons. And it's been proven light is a wave. It's been proven light is a particle. But waves and particles are two totally different things. How can that be? One way to look at it, which is fascinating, is what's called the double slit experiment. If you send particles, or items, be they photons of light or electrons, through a single slit, the right size, we're talking very, very tiny, then as each particle goes through, it bombards the screen behind it. And that's where you see here, this first one, the single slit pattern, basically one big blob. Alternatively, you could have the light coming through two slits. And if it's coming through two slits, you should see two blobs, but you don't. Instead, you see a pattern called an interference pattern, where it'll be light and dark many, many different times from just two slits, because the light has transformed from particles into waves, and yet it's still the same light beam. It's incredible. How can it be? It's two different things. It's bizarre. And now let's look at something entirely different, or is it? Matzah, the unleavened bread that every Jew world round, Orthodox, conservative, or Reform, in Israel or in the diaspora, everyone was eating this the first night of Passover several weeks ago. It's a strange bread. Most people don't really like it very much, so some people eat it all year long. In the Haggadah, the prayers that we read on the Seder night, matzah is described as two ways, as the bread of affliction or the bread of freedom. It's affliction because it's a reminder of slavery. It's the poor man's bread. It's what you eat when you have nothing else. But it's freedom because God commanded us to bake it quickly in the rush to leave Egypt. And it's eaten in a festive meal. It's the worst of bread, and it's the best of bread at the same time. Just like light can be a wave and a particle at the same time. So which is it? Do we have two different things, or do we have one thing? Well, in both cases, we have a single thing. We have light. We see it all around us, and yet at the lowest level, it's two entirely different things. And matzah, it's one thing. But when we eat it, we remember two entirely different things. And here I've presented two entirely different things. But maybe, just maybe, this will make you think about a connection between two waves and particles, between affliction and freedom, between quantum mechanics and the holiday of Passover. It's bizarre, it's rare, it's strange. It's two things in one. And I hope you enjoyed my speech.